Hello guys, here's IST with analysis of the chat. What I want to share today is basically a trade I have taken, or actually two trades. And let's start with the first one. Because it's the first trade I've placed, and at the time I was placing it, it made sense, but at the entry time didn't. So well, let's dive into it. What I have looked was this, and let me show you actually. This is like both both trades are actually live trades. Like I've taken them here. The first one and the first one and the second one. Now I adjust the stop loss. I have taken some profits, but yeah, the idea is that both trades are real, and yeah. So let's dive into the second one. And let's analyze it. Well, which one is the second one? I do believe this one is the one. No? Yeah, good. The target is, let me see. Mm, 152, 171, 152, 171. This is my target, basically this liquidity below here. So now let's dive into the trade. What I have looked at was, let's do it here because it makes a little bit more sense. It's basically that we are in a monthly imbalance right now, right? We sit into this inverted imbalance actually, right? And around 75% of the weekly range, like from week to week, from body to body. Yeah, here is 75% of the range, which makes like it's a good confluence when we correlate it um, with the actual imbalance. Like imbalance, and this one makes this level a good level to look for trades. But not only this, right? Let's jump on daily now. We see that the daily price action swing is basically bullish, internal is bullish, in premium both of them, and fractal it's also bullish in everything. It's bullish in the premium, right? Now This, and also we failed to close above the middle point of the imbalance and the 75% of the weekly range. Well, this alone makes the level a good level to look for trades, for shorts, right? And what I have done is basically this. I was trying to catch a reversal before happening with the first trade. And now let's jump in the actual idea I had. And I've placed a trade somewhere, I don't know, I think was 11 o'clock or something. This move happened already, right? So what I have seen here was basically I was looking at ranges and what price is doing. Well, this is a range for me, right? Okay, we have also bullish ranges, right? But I don't want to be bullish at this level, so I am kind of ignoring them. Like, have in mind that I'm trying to make a very risky trade and not everything gets aligned, and so we got to pay attention. But yes, the idea is that the range, I don't want to look to bullish ranges. I want to see shorts. Like, I'm looking for shorts now, right? And what I've done, it's like basically try to predict when the price gonna turn around before turning around. So this is like uh, pretty difficult to do, right? So this was our range, and inside this range we got another range, and was, we got a big range like from here to here. Then you got a smaller one from here to here. Then another smaller one like from here also to here. And we got like a lot of uh, I gotta be like careful with this level. Well, now inside this range is basically, can't I? No, I'm not look like in here. Yeah, inside this range is basically another smaller one. I'm gonna map it on with lines, blue lines. Blue line, like for me, I don't know if you have seen other videos on this channel. Probably not. I'm pretty new here. But yeah, someone will be helped for sure by this. Now or later. I use like blue lines for 4 hour, yellow lines for 1 hour, or purple lines for daily, red lines for weekly, dark lines for monthly, and green lines for 50 minutes. So, and I use dotted lines like for liquidity. How are these called? I don't know, interrupted lines. I don't know, for churches or ranges, and full lines like for swings. Well, we got ranges inside ranges on 4 hour, and what happened is this. I looked here, right? I've seen this big range on 1 hour, right? I'm gonna make it a 1 hour range, right? And also this one I am gonna transform also into 1 hour range because it's visible on 1 hour. And what is visible and very, very visible is this. And this one I'm gonna transform also in 1 hour. Actually, it's here, but I'm gonna delete. No, it's not. And what is very, very visible that inside this big range on 1 hour happened that we have an imbalance. I'm gonna call it 1 hour imbalance, right? And what I've seen here, it's like imbalance being respected once, twice, and third time, like made the church. In my point of view, this is a church, this is a valid church. Like when you look to the price action, was like this. Like we made a high, we made a low, we broken the high, took liquidity above those highs, and also very important above the 4 hour range, and then bam, closed back in the range, made the church. So this was a very, very valid level for me. And a good confluence, right? Now, having this in mind, yeah, around 10 o'clock I've made it. Between 10 and 11 was the analysis. Another very, very strong confluence, this is basically the monthly imbalance, is that the 1 hour imbalance matched pretty well with the middle point of the 50 of the monthly imbalance. So it's a good confluence. Well, having this in mind, the idea is that I do expect the imbalance to hold. And what happened is that we got a bearish structure, right? Bearish structure. This 4 hour is basically bullish, and let me show you. This 4 hour structure is basically bullish, but inside a bearish structure, right? On 4 hour. So what happened right now is that we got a closure above this structure, right? And then we swept liquidity above this structure, and then we got the closure back inside the range on one time frame lower, and made a church. A church here happened actually, and here also. And then what we got, I'm not delete the lines because it's still gonna be confusing. But this one is very important, actually. This one for no, excuse me, this one. And yes, when we have done this, like basically the price made a new church, a new range. Well, now I jump lower on 50 minutes. So what I want to see, like when I'm trading ranges, I do expect the range the most recent one to continue if in alignment with the higher one, with some higher range. And for me, this range, this bearish one on daily, was the higher one. We got also this one. I'm gonna put in here. And what happened was that after taking liquidity above this one on the next lower time frame, we made a closure back in the range. Like, doesn't matter if you are doing some continuation, right? 1, 2, 3 candles, and then you make a a closure back in the range because it's not valid anymore. You got like order block, or you got the idea. You need a closure right back, not you don't want to see momentum going on. And I have seen this, right? Well, this give me the idea that this 50 minutes range is gonna continue, right? Let's jump back on the on the 1 hour, on 1 hour, like to map liquidity inside liquidity in the range, right? Well, what I'm seeing here is not so good, I'll say, because would have been a lot better if I would have entered at 9 o'clock, right? When the range were fresh. Because of this, but like when the range were fresh, basically we got this order block, we got this imbalance, right? And we got liquidity from here. And yeah, you would have been more early in the trade and until um, would have been like better, right? Because and I'm not talking later about this. So I define liquidity. I'm gonna remove the imbalance, not remove, but move it away a little bit. Right. Also, those line, no, this line, I think it's important in this one also. Well, having this in mind, I was looking for a POI on this level, and what I've seen was not too much, basically. Only this inverted imbalance, which is matching with this other block, so it's not too much, but it's something, right? Well, now I was looking lower on 5 minutes, and I've seen something very interesting. Here, right above the liquidity, it's a clean, untouched order block that has taken liquidity above this high, and then close right back in a range, and basically this push the price lower. Also, we got this week here, so some confluence, Well, now fast forward. Yeah, this was basically the idea. I got those confluences, this order block, so price action looked bearish. Then I have basically placed the trade right here at the beginning of the order block, a little bit lower, like 1 pip or 2 pips, and stop loss 2 pips above the high of the hourly range. And yes, let's move a little bit forward until 2 o'clock. No, too fast. Well, not until 2 o'clock, but let's be like more until 1 o'clock. Well, what I'm seeing here, it's a good sign, and like on 1 hour I'm not seeing too much, right? 1 hour it's still respecting my analysis, but this bullish closure doesn't make me very comfortable. Right? I would have liked to see a continuation, some break of structure here. Didn't happen. So the idea is that what I wanted to see was basically either a run in a 5 minute order block in a trade and then a lower, or otherwise some some continuation, some break of structure, and then a spike higher to take liquidity and then go on. But I have seen a consolidation, so that doesn't wasn't very good sign. When I looked on 5 minutes, on 50 minutes, this was basically even worse, because what happened was, you see, the 50-minute structure is very bullish, right? At this moment, like, you got the high, you got the low, higher high, higher low. We basically kept making higher highs and higher lows on 50 minutes. And right now, at this very moment, we just align with the structure. Higher high, like, we got a high, we got a lower low, lower high, and higher low, higher high, top liquidity, close back in the range, expect a bullish continuation, and this basically happened. Fast forward, entering my trade at 2 o'clock, and what happened was momentum kept showing. I wanted to see, like, on 5 minutes, some rejection, and I have seen the rejection. The rejection was here, and it's obvious, right? But the church wasn't made, so I was like, consciousness, and was harder to hold my emotions, because I knew I was playing a risky trade, and then I was doing it basically with limit order. This was the bad thing. What you should do when you want to do something like this is basically jump on 1 minute, because a 5-minute order block or something. All right, and uh, look for some reversal pattern, and happened on 1 minute. But yes, 50 minutes was against me, and then 5 minutes again against me. All right, so basically, yeah, was not like a good entry I'll call. The idea was still valid though, until we invalidate this high, which is basically the high of the imbalance, and the high of the candle with the imbalance, and also, I guess, some high of the high of for 4 hour range, right? Like a bigger one. Still bearish. So what happened was that price kept pushing, right? And eventually, in the end, I have seen this here, right? Well, now we have made this 50 minutes range, which was a bearish range, right? And then I have seen this, and I was them. Well, I've known that the trade is risky. I have known that the trade, like, it is a risky trade basically, and it's counter trend, and it's basically counter everything. So I don't have to, like, to be so surprised that went so bad, right? My luck was, and it's a lot of times, that I give a little bit more room, like 2 pips above the high, 2 3 pips. I'm at 2 pips right now, and what's happening is that I've seen this, right? I've taken liquidity above the high, like, the trade did, the price did, and then closed back in the range. Didn't want to close above the high, right? And what happened and was very nice. I don't think I have to try it, but I'll do it anyway, right? It made a church, and eventually close this high also, this low also. Well, having this in mind, we broke like the 50 minutes range was bearish. This one from here to here, right? This one was in contradiction, but this one was bearish. Right? We got one time frame bullish, so one range bullish, another one bearish, right? Then we got a liquidity swap, a fake break of structure, as I call it. And on the next lower time frame, we close right back, or basically also in this time frame also. But I use this time frame for a better entry point. On this time frame, we close right back in the range, right, and made a judge. Well, this was enough for me to make a trade to have like the next target this low here. So, and then what basically happened? I did enter on this candle, all right. Stop loss 2 pips above those highs now, because yeah, this is what happened. And very very important, because on 15 minutes we made, you may not see the church, but it is there and is very visible if you look for it. You made a high, made a low, you made a high, you broke the low. Let's see. Right, this was also a church on 50 minutes, which let me delete everything. And also very very important is that expecting those internal ranges, the most extreme ones like this one and this one, we like this one on 4 hour, this one, we didn't close. Yeah, it's the same. No, it's not the same or different, but that's what I've said earlier, that this range is important. We didn't close above none, like not even once, not even when my trade was basically invalidated, the market structure changed bullish. Well, on 50 minutes we did, but then we closed right back with the church. So this was very, very good. Or we closed right back and made the church. This was a very, very strong confluence that the price don't want to go higher. So on the small trade, what I have done basically was executing here, right, and targeting this low of this range, because it's in alignment. We took liquidity above on 15 minutes, closed back in the range. And yes, and right now what happened, because it's very very, I'll say interesting, right? And not interesting, but yeah, I'm targeting those lows right now, right? But with this trade, but with a big trade, I'm still targeting this low. It's basically a gamble trade. Like to this low, it's not a gamble, but this is very, very, at this point, at this moment, this is a very, very good, clean, and clear target. But so deep, I don't know. We will see, but it's making sense also because we got the imbalances. Of course, I'm not gonna let the trade run so high. I'm basically taking profits gradually from, like, I've already taken 2 times profit from the small trade, one at 2 air and one at 4 air, and now it's 5.6 like to till the final target. Well, I should have basically closed it like here, but it happened a little bit too fast and I wasn't able to close it right here, right? Let's look on 5 minutes. And then the price was like jumping around and I was like, then it is what it is. I will let it run, and because happened a lot of time to me to, and it's still happening, and I gotta control my emotions because in trading, emotion it's basically the thing that's holding you back. So you gotta make a decision, all right, and then stick to it. Don't change your mind because you sometimes even if you make the right decision, right, the bad decision, you have to like either change your mind once and then forget about it, don't question it anymore, or stick to it and create a habit of making decision and sticking to it regardless of what happens. So make a plan and then stick to it, right? Because otherwise, look, if this trade would have like uh if I would have closed this trade, not this, the big one, um when I realized was bad, and then would have gone in my direction, I would have regretted, right? Because I was doing analysis and then I disrespected it, right? I've changed my mind and eventually keep going my direction. And it's happening a lot of like I was doing analysis for like half hour, right? When the price was like far away from my level, I didn't have emotion, I wasn't in a trade. And right now, but it's not matching with the time, so it's not the best moment to enter. But this it's basically uh, trade that it's very likely to happen because we are in alignment right now, right? So liquidity above, we close below, we target the liquidity here, but I'll go for this one. So of course, not like don't let the whole trade run so much. Take partials, like make a plan to take uh, you know partials and then stick to it regardless of what's gonna happen. Well, I do think and I do believe that it's um I hope it do you guys hear me well because I'm not sure which microphone I'm using right now. And yeah. Well, I don't think there are any more news for the day. I am basically until this high or this high, actually, it may be this high, fails, the trade idea is valid, right? And right now we're in alignment on 1 hour time frame. I don't care anymore what the 50 minute says or what the 5 minute says. We're in alignment on 1 hour, right? And I should have thought the same basically in here. But yeah, also one more thing that made me anxious was this candle. Like it looked like we are turning around, and we basically took liquidity below, right? We turn around basically, we took liquidity below this high, and then we ran to this high, which was my basically my stop loss place. And so I'll say I was very lucky with the first trade. This one was like perfectly matching my trading plan. And yeah, why not let me show you my playbook. And let's analyze the trade together. Yeah, let's do it like this. And then like this, right? Well, I hope it's well. What we got is basically define an internal range in overall trend or range, right? And I got this overall 1 hour range, right? Checked. And the internal range was this bearish 50 minutes. It's fake bull break structure or range reversal, right? Also, it works when you have a general idea on a higher time frame, like when you look on the daily, you don't want to be long right here, right? Like when you look, I don't think you want to be long right here at this moment. You want to wait for some retracement to be long, right? In this order block or something, or in this imbalance. So let's make it more clear. Forget, and also, like, I had the idea, and those are only the entry checks. So I had this for this specific trade. The other trade didn't match my playbook, like was more like an intuition one, which turned out to be wrong, but eventually I got very lucky with it. And yes, I'm also a lucky person, to be honest. So what happened? Define an internal range in overall trend. Well, this is overall trend or range, right? From this high to this low. And then I got, I got many. This internal, which was basically for this one, right? And right now we got this internal range, right? Well, checked. Internal range in overall. Well, this is not checked. Like the internal range is defined basically on 1 hour, but is visible on 50 minutes. Yeah, very good. The price made a break of structure invalidating the range, right? It made a break of structure here. On the lower or the next lower time frame, or basically medium time frame, a closure back in the range happened. I'm going on 5 minutes. After invalidating the range, a closure back in the range happened. And range with the initial one. Yeah, I am like confused a little bit because this is my first life, so I got emotions. It's like no. Even if nobody's watching, I gotta get used to this shit. Well, now, so define an internal range in overall trend or range. Well, I defined the internal range, right? Is this one from this high to this low? This is my internal range in an overall trend range, right? Trend range. This is my overall range, and this is my internal range. Well, perfect. Then on the next lower time frame or medium time, this is my medium time frame, like 50 minutes. A closure back in the range happened, creating a new range in alignment with the initial one. Well, basically this happened, but considering that the range is also visible on 50 minutes, basically it's the same range on 1 hour and 50 minutes. I'm going one more time frame on this one, on 5 minutes. And what I'm seeing on 5 minutes is basically we create a new range, right? Right? Like this is the church and this is my new range. And when we measure the range, basically I didn't catch the move and I was like, damn, it is like this. But we showed weight, like we showed map some liquidity level, right? And this was my liquidity level. A POI was this order block here. And then when like place a limit order here, stop loss 2 pips above the, like, okay, let's check the playbook. A closure back in the range happened, creating a new range in alignment with the initial one checked. Right? Find the POI, this order block basically, which is also in alignment with the imbalance, also the imbalance stop loss above could have, like what you want to see, you don't want to see imbalances inverted, right? You don't want to see a closure like basically you have seen it, but yeah, it is what it is. The order block was still held, the high of the imbalance, the candle that has made the imbalance was still in place, so POI checked. Well, drop on one more time frame lower, we did it, right? And find the liquidity level and the new POI, basically those ones. Also, if I would have stayed on 5 minutes, liquidity level would have been this candle high, and no, basically this one, this high, because it happened like this, right? You made the high, you have broken the low, made the high, you made the low, you made the high, who has broken the low. So this is a valid liquidity level, right? So on 50 minutes, this would have been my my liquidity level, which happened to match on 5 minutes, and yeah, checked. Somehow my PC is not working, but yeah. Then enter behind the liquidity level and plans. Alright, I didn't enter behind the liquidity level. Was like also not a very far away move. Alright. And enter behind the liquidity level and place a stop loss 2 pips behind the range. Checked. Verify is there is another structure between the entry and the target on the medium time frame. So, well, this is what, like, I'll not say mistake, but what basically happened. I should have been targeting. Okay, if there is not target opposite of the initial B internal range, like this low, right? Like I verified, if there is opposite market structure, and it is on the medium time frame, which is 50 minutes at this moment, right? Mark the last internal range liquidity, which was this one or this one. Now depends how you are seeing this, right? Could have been both, because what I'm doing, I'm taking like when I map the market structure, it's basically like this. Right? But then this was not a break of structure, was my like I want to see like some candle closure. So at this moment, this is still my last low. So this would be the last internal range liquidity, and which is basically right. And then target the mark level, which was this one. Well, checked. Not checked, basically, because I didn't target this one. I have been more aggressive with this trade. And then close 30% of at 2 checked. Then move the stop loss on break even, checked. Then close another 30% of 4 checked. And then close the rest at final target. Well, at this moment, I should have closed like 30% here and the rest of the trade at this level, right? But considering the bigger picture, the initial analysis, I am pushing the trade down here, and I don't know if I will make it, like, okay? But considering how let me check those. I don't know if it's like so right, but also the move, this big push here happened at 4 a.m. when the news came in. Right. So well, right now I got another playbook, but I'm done for the day. Like and this is a very, very good takeaway in trading. In order to have some a range, like some zone of trading, you got to be emotionally stable. You got to be able to control your emotion. And the first trade extenuated me, like pretty much, like yeah, basically this is my emotions spiked because of the first trade, and because I didn't respect the perfectly my plan, and I struggle to control them so much. Now if I take a trade and then take a loss, will be like more volatility in the emotion. Right now I'm risk free, stop loss on breaking even on both trades. Looks like it's going against me, but who cares? The big trade, it's very likely that will be stopped out. But again, who cares? Because I follow my plan, I follow my rules. Stop loss is on break even. And now looking at the trade, I don't know. It's very likely that the price it's gonna came in the order block. I don't know if it's gonna. It's not matched with the time. It's not matched with with any. How should I call it? New news or something, but at this moment I don't even have to see the trade. The analysis was done, and yes, I found that for myself, once I have done the analysis, I basically do respect strictly the risk management, which is you have seen take profit at UR, move the stop loss on 0, on break even, put take another profit at 4R, and then let the trade run and forget about it, and this is why it is. Right? Well, looks like interesting, but yeah, let's make another short analysis, and you can see how it's gonna play out after I close the live. Basically, we got a well. We're first thing first. We're in a deep premium on the daily range. All right, deep premium. On a weekly range, also deep premium. All right. In a monthly imbalance, like you have to check those things, right? To be in alignment with the higher time frame when you are placing the trade, like to know what the overall frame is, right? And the overall frame, it's bearish, at least in my point of view. We are bearish on weekly, well, monthly bullish, but yeah, you know, I trade hourly, so we got this liquidity, this imbalance on daily that needs to be filled, right? And now it's the liquidity below those lows for our imbalance. And now it's the time to make a little analysis. And let's look what we have. We have first liquidity here, imbalance to be filled. All right, this order block, so we are in premium, right? So we expect some pullback. Well, for peace of mind, to like, if you wanna have peace of mind, don't do nothing here. Wait for the pullback to happen, right? And then trade the trade pro trend, right? You will boost your win rate, your peace of mind, will be easier, but now it depends on your personality. What happened is, now after all those checks here, we have had a bullish market structure, I'll call it, right? And then we made a church on 4 hour. Let's look how it's gonna end. But yes, we have made a church and we got a new range on 4 hour, which is in alignment with the overall idea that we are very, very bullish in very, very premium and so on. Well, now we define a range. Alright. We got also this little range in 1 hour. And so let me show you because it's more easier. But yeah, when we got a church in alignment with the higher time frame I do basically just drop 2 time frames lower, right? Look for some liquidity level or POI, and for me this is the liquidity level. Place the entry and yeah, see how it plays. But what happens is that on hourly, liquidity is here. I don't want to jump straight away 2 time frames lower because of this. We got this breaker also. You don't want to trade the breaker here, right? Or in the worst case, you trade this. One hour imbalance. But yeah, right now it's already 5 p.m. Like already 3 hours in New York session, and we are most likely arranged for the New York session and then see some continuation tomorrow. Most likely. What I do not like is this thing here. We didn't see a closure, but we have seen closure here, so yeah. What I wanna see it's this range is very visible on 1 hour, so I'm gonna make it mark it on 1 hour, right? And I do expect the range to continue. I don't want to see a closure in here. Like, if I see a closure, like, will be not a very, very good sign. But as long as this high stays in place, shorts are very, very valid. So we got liquidity, we got the imbalance, we got the other block that has taken liquidity. We got also, do not understand what, yeah. It's strange why 164 16 o'clock. Right? 1613. I do not understand why is not the 1 hour level with 50 minutes level doesn't match. Maybe it's some bug of TradingView. But yeah, this is basically the imbalance that has liquidity on 1 hour and 50 minutes. And then we got this other block, this breaker block. Then we got this inverted imbalance. Right. This other block here, lower on 5 minutes. Not clear. Lower on 5 minutes is making a little bit more probably sense. Because this other block in here, I'm not happy with 1 hour. No. I'm not make it visible on 1 hour. Yeah, it is. Right, this 5 minutes other block is I'll call it valid because it got liquidity, right? And very important match, not perfectly, but very well with the 75% level of the weekly imbalance of the hourly order block. So most probably whoa, damn, the we're gonna get confirmations. We're gonna chop around until this level until tomorrow, and tomorrow we're gonna reach this level and then see some confirmation in our direction. So, well, I hope yeah, this was my analysis. I hope you enjoy it, and until next week, not next week, but next next analysis. Have a good and profitable week.